Hello everyone, in this video I'll be explaining how you can create an amazing hero section for your marketing website. Hero sections are very important in order to increase your conversion rate. So that is the first thing that any user would watch when he lands on your marketing website. So we'll start by creating two files. First is the headstream.jsx, which would consist of all the React code, and then a plain CSS file that will be consisting of styles. We won't be using any pre-processing libraries for designing. We will be using plain CSS. So now let's start importing the CSS file, and we will be creating a basic React component using arrow function, and we'll be exporting it. We'll just add a section, and inside this section we would be adding all the different HTML elements. So once we have this very basic React component ready, we will just import it. And now in the real time we can see the changes that we have on our component. And now in the real time we can see how the component is being rendered on the browser. So we'll be using a tagline, dedicated developers for startups, and a better description about the brand, and an action button. So this is how it looks like, and we are going to beautify it definitely for sure. So on the right side we would be having the cylindrical shapes that would be consisting of images or background color. So each of these columns in that particular design would consist of a circular or a cylindrical shape with some background color and an image. So this is how we are defining the column. So each of this column would be having the class name as stream container. So we would be creating a total of 5 columns. So as you can see over here, that in the third column we have added a cylindrical object and 2 images. This is the fourth one, and in the final one we have just one single image. And this is how it looks like currently. Now let's jump onto the CSS file. So we'll be giving our section a max width of 1200 pixels, and it would be center aligned using margin. Because of the display flex, we would be getting both the divs side by side, and we would be center aligning it using align atoms and justify content. We'll add some padding to give some space. Next thing that we would be doing is just increasing the font size of our main tag. And we have also increased the size of the description for the brand. Now div.last style is the second one. So we want all of them to be aligned side by side in columns, and that's the reason we would be using display grid property. So you can see that all the items are displayed side by side, and all of them have a width of 100 pixels. Let's center align them and give it a gap. And then we would be adding all the cylindrical shapes. So here you can see that we had a total of 3 cylindrical shapes with different colors. Similarly, we would be also be creating a circular shape for our design. And now comes the image section. We would be also transforming these rectangular images into cylindrical shapes. So you can see now that the images have been stretched out, but we don't want the image to be stretched out. So that's why you would be adding object fit cover property. And now you can see that the images are fitting into the size. We'll decrease the brightness and we'll add a transition for some hover effect. So right now we do not have an hover effect, and now we would be adding a hover effect. So on hover, the brightness would be 100%. Now the only one thing that is left is the get started button. So let's design that. So we have added a gradient, and we'll just remove the border and we'll add some border radius with some box shadows, and we'll add some spacing around using the width and height property. So now you can see that this is looking much better with all the spacing and the gradient color. And you can also notice that we have added a background size 500%. The reason being is that we want to add some animation on the hover. So we are going to change the background position, and that is going to enable us to change the color, the background color of this particular object or element. So for that we would be adding an animation, and we would be using keyframes for that. So this animation name is going to be gradient, which would execute only once for 2 seconds, and it's going to be moving forward. So the initial background position is going to be 0 to 50%, and on 100% it is going to be shifting to the right. So now you can see that this is the hover effect. So the background position is shifting, and that's the reason background color is also changing. So that was it. So hope you had a great time watching this tutorial, and follow us for more.